So last time in the case of applets, we saw these two functions, the function drawLine and the function drawString. DrawString prints a string onto the applet, drawLine draws a line on the applet. DrawString requires a string as an argument and the xy position, whereas drawLine requires the values of x1, y1 and x2, y2. Today what we'll do is, we'll go for one more function, and that is drawRect. As the name suggests, it will draw a rectangle on the applet. This drawRect requires 4 arguments again: the xy, the width and the height. By xy I mean to say this. Let us say this is a rectangle drawn with drawRect. This distance is x, this is y. The left top corner's xy coordinate would be the xy to draw the rectangle, width and the height of the rectangle. So using this drawRect, today we will try to draw something on the applet. We'll write a few programs based upon the same function drawRect. In the last class, we calculated the width and height of the applet. Same thing I'll again do, width and height. I introduced a new class to you people, the class dimension. Size is a member function of the class applet. It returns the size of the applet in terms of the width and height. That width and height is available in the object D of the class dimension. It returns the width and height. That width and height I can accept into this. Width equals to D dot width, height equals to D dot height. So what I have done here is, I have calculated the size of the applet and its width and height I have stored in the data members of my class, that is width and height. Now using this width and height I can draw a rectangle. That drawing part will be handled in the paint event. Here I will be simply writing drawRect and I will give these coordinates. I hope you can imagine what sort of rectangle will be drawn. It will start from the 0, 0 position of the applet. It will go till the width and height of the applet. To run this program, to execute this program, I'll save it and I'll again execute it. While executing it, you know this, that we should not say Ctrl 2, we should press Ctrl 3 and an applet is drawn over here. Now if you look at this applet, you won't be able to find the rectangle that we draw. But if I just increase the size of the applet viewer, you can see a rectangle drawn on the user screen. This applet has a rectangle over here which started from 0, 0, went up till the width of the applet, went till the height of the applet. One more thing I will do over here, at the center of this rectangle, at the center of this applet, I wish to draw another rectangle. I wish to draw it in such a way that it should be exactly at the center of the applet. So we'll use a little bit of common sense. See, let's imagine this. Let's imagine that the width of the applet is, say, 600. I'll just take some example. Let us imagine the width of the applet is 600. And if I wish to draw a rectangle exactly at the center of the applet, then 200 should be left blank over here, 200 should be left blank from this side, whereas 200 has to be the width of the applet, of the rectangle. Similarly, if this is 300, let us say the height of the applet is 300, and I wish to have a rectangle exactly at the center of this, 100 should be left blank, 100 should be left blank, and 100 should be the height of the rectangle. So, I'll draw something for you. I'll just rewrite a new program. I'll define some new variables for you. Let us call the variable as rect left, rect top, rect width, and rect height. These are the variables related to the smaller rectangle that we are going to draw, a rectangle which will be exactly at the center of the applet. So for that we have taken 4 variables: rect left, rect top, rect width, and rect height. Left and top, I told you, this is the left distance, top, width, and this is going to be the height. So let us calculate this. I wish to find out 4 things: rect left, rect top, rect width, rect height. Now, as I say, if the width of the applet is say 600 and I wish to position the applet exactly at the center horizontally, then 200 should be blank on the left side, 200 should be blank on the right hand side, 200 has to be the width of the applet. So here what I will do is, I will say rect left is width divided by 3. Top it will be height of the applet divided by 3. Now, rect width I wish to write down. That would again be width by 3. This will again be height by 3. Let us try to draw a rectangle based upon it. G dot draw rect, and instead of 0 0, now I will be writing rect left, rect top, rect width, rect height. These are the values that we calculated just now. Based upon this, let us try to draw this applet. As you can see, we have a rectangle along the boundary of the applet fiber, and we have an applet exactly at the center of the applet. Now this rectangle I'll redraw by using a new function over here. That new function is called as fill rect. Draw rect and fill rect both draw a rectangle. The only difference is draw rect draws a transparent rectangle, whereas fill rect draws a rectangle with a certain color. The default color is black. Fill rect's rectangle will be opaque, draw rect's rectangle will be transparent. So let's see what effect it has on the output. You can see this outer rectangle is basically a transparent rectangle, and this fill rect inner rectangle is basically an opaque rect. The same program I'll redraw. We'll play with this program. Let's do a few more things with this. See. I'll again have these things: rect top, rect left, rect width, and rect height. Now in the last program, when we wrote rect top or rect left, I wrote down this because I wanted it to be exactly at the center of the applet. Now let's play with this. Why not draw a random rectangle? This rectangle was exactly at the center of the applet. Instead of that, I wish to draw a random rectangle. That means I need to find out all these things randomly, rect width and rect height. All the four things I need to find out randomly. So here let us learn something which we already know. I'll create a function over here. Let me call that function as randomize. This function receives a value, and you know a few things about this function. R equals to, we have already studied this function, math.random. We know math stands for the name of a class and random is a member function of the class. Math.random returns a random number in the range of 0 to 1. If I want it to be in the range of 0 to 500, what we do is we multiply this by 500. So I'll simply write down into 500 over here. So this gives me a random number in the range of 0 to 500. I'll just typecast this of int. Instead of 500, if I write down range, what will happen? I have passed the range as an argument to the function randomize. If the range is 276, the random number generated would be in the range of 0 to 276. If I pass 153, then the random number generated would be in the range of 0 to 153. So whatever range you will pass to this function, the random number would be in the range of 0 to that particular value, and that calculated value of R I'll return over here. So returned R will give me a random number. So for example, if I call it this way, if I call it as a randomize of say 345, range is going to be 345. What math.random will do is it will return a random number in the range of 0 to 1 into 345 gives me a random number in the range of 0 to 345. That random value calculated will be returned back to the calling function. So this I can play over here. See, instead of calculating rect left with some definite value, why not write down this randomize of the width of the applet? So instead of getting a definite rect left, I am randomly calculating the left part of the rectangle. Randomize has been given the width so that it does not go outside the limits of the applet. If my width is 600, I will be getting a random number in the range of 0 to 600, so that my left does not ever cross the limits of the applet. Similarly, for rect top, I should be writing randomize of height so that it does not cross the limits of the height. Now think about this, rect width. Now for rect width, I'll have to be careful because rect left has been calculated randomly. Randomize gives me a value in the range of 0 to the width of the applet. Imagine the width of the applet again is 600 and rect left calculated by this is say 500. So the available portion to draw a rectangle for me is only 100. So here I will be writing down something which should be understood. Randomize of width minus rect left. Can you understand this? My width of applet was 600. Randomly calculated rect left was 500. So the possible area for me to draw the rectangle, the width of the rectangle is only 100. So I'll generate a random number in the range of 0 to 100 only. Similarly for rect height, here I need to write down randomize of height minus rect height. So we have calculated the left, top, width and height of the rectangle, and that we will again draw over here by writing G draw fill rect, that is, and again I will be writing rect left, rect top, rect width and rect height. Let's see what happens. see a randomly drawn rectangle over here. If I re-execute this program, I will get a rectangle of a different dimension. If I re-execute this program, again I will get a rectangle of a different dimension. It must be drawn somewhere, or it may be a very small rectangle and hence it's not visible. Go on executing the program. You will see a rectangle of different dimensions every time because the top, left, width and height were calculated randomly. I can even randomize the color of this rectangle. See, Java, as you all know, supports everything in terms of a class. I hope you remember that once we have already used a class called as font. Similarly, Java also supports a class called as color. An object of the class color can be created by this form, class color, and here I need to specify the red, green and blue part of the color. Remember, all these values of R, G and B will be in the range of 0 to 255. So if, let's say I want a red color, I need to create something like this, color C, new color, and here I write down 255, 0, 0. 255, red has been set as 255, green and blue has been set as 0. So because of that, it will create a red color for me. Now this 255, instead of 255, if I set it to 100, the intensity of red will be reduced. Maximum intensity is 255, minimum intensity is 0. So depending upon the color you want, the variation in color you want, you can set the values of red, green and blue in the range of 0 to 255. I can have a combination of colors also. I could have written this color 255, 0, 255. It will be a combination of red and blue. Green has been set to 0. Even I can do this thing, color C equals to new color, and I can put something like this. It will be a combination of some part of red, some part of green and some part of blue. Whatever the resultant color would be, that will be available in my object called as C. So this thing I can apply in my previous program, this program. We will create an object of the class color and I will create the color over here. C equals to new color. Now see, I could have written this, but this will always give me the red color. If I want the colors also to be randomly generated, so I have got a function randomize over here. So see what trick I play. I'll say randomize 255, randomize 255 and so on. And again randomize 255. So what will happen? R, G, B are randomly generated. So even we are not sure what the color of the rectangle will be. It will be a random color that would be generated. So here, while drawing the rectangle, I can do this. G dot set color, that is set the drawing color, and here I will set the object C, where C is an object of the class color whose red, green and blue are randomly calculated. So let's execute this program. If I execute this program multiple times, you will see a different color. Earlier the color was always black. Now it's slightly a shadow of green color. I'll execute this program. You can see a different color over here. I'll execute the program. I again find a new color, a rectangle of new dimension and a rectangle of new color. So if I execute this program again and again, I am getting a new rectangle and the rectangle's color is also calculated dynamically. Now the smallest thing that I can do in this program is the same program. The smallest thing which I can do is, what we are doing is, in the init part of the applet, we calculated the dimension of the applet. We generated the left, top, width and height of the rectangle. We created a randomly calculated color, and based upon that we draw some rectangle on the screen. Instead of that, what I wish to do is I wish to draw 10 dynamic rectangles on the applet. 10 rectangles with different sizes and shapes and with different color. So the only thing that I'll do now in this program is this calculations of top, left, width and height along with the color, I'll just remove from here. I'll put it over here. In the paint event, I'll just make a small change and it will make a big difference to my program. See? So what did I do? All the calculations of left, top, width and height along with the color I have done inside a loop which has been defined in the paint event. It sets the calculated color and draws the rectangle with the newly calculated values of left, top, width and height. So where only a single rectangle was drawn, I'll get randomly drawn 5 rectangles. See? Because of the loop, you will get multiple random rectangles on the applet. Every time you execute the program, you will see different number of rectangles, and that too you will find with different colors. So these fill rect and draw rect has to be practiced. I have tried to put it in different programs, 3 to 4 programs. You need to go through this program, just get a feel of applets, and then using this you can play with lines and rectangles and strings and these things. Once you are comfortable with this concept, then I will proceed with the actual topics of applets, where I will put this applet inside an HTML file, and then that HTML file will be displayed onto the web browser. Okay. So practice these programs and do tell me what you feel about these programs.